Then welcome to the Midday News. I am Fadishola Shotingwa. We start the Midday News with the report that the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has directed its members to begin an indefinite strike. The resolution, which followed 3 days of deliberations of ASUU members at the University of Abuja, comes after the body had asked its affiliates to conduct a referendum on the need for the indefinite strike. The lecturers say the strike was called to complain about poor funding of universities, part payment of lecturer salaries, and the kidnap of 2 lecturers of the University of Maiduguri by the Boko Haram sect. And according to the ASUU president, Biodun Ogunyemi, all means of negotiating were applied before the decision for an indefinite strike was reached. And now we have joining me in the studio to discuss this is education correspondent Sharon Ijasan. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Another strike by ASUU again, one too many. This time we understand a referendum was called. How did that vote go?
Well, you said, let me take you up on the fact that you said it's one strike too many. The last time they had a strike was in November 2016, and it was a 1-week strike, of which they actually had several meetings with the presidency and the Senate actually went into action, and they called off the strike. Now we are back to the issue of the strike. Over the weekend on Sunday, the Academic Staff Union of Universities met with their National Executive Committee, and they agreed that they should go or commence on the strike. And this is because they have too many issues which dates as far as 2009. Indeed. That has not been met.
Resolved.
So also, yes, and so also they had an agreement also in 2013, that is a memorandum of understanding which was met and which they had the government sign, and none of these issues that that was brought up to the foreburner has been resolved. The only aspects that the federal government has met as regards the ASUU issues right now is the fact that the university and the lecturers complained about the standard of education and probably the instruments they're using to teach in the universities. So if, for example, they said they wanted about 1.2 trillion naira, only 200 billion naira has been released for the revitalization of the universities across Nigeria. And that is just the only aspect which has not actually, the money has not been disbursed in tranches already.
I do understand that, but it does seem, one can understand the plight of the lecturers, no doubt, but it does seem that the federal government they're not able to meet these demands all the time. What will be the end result this time again?
Well,
because as they have said, it is an indefinite strike.
The truth has to be said. The government has their own case that they have to actually solve.
Yes.
And so also the lecturers also might have their own shortcomings. But the truth remains that, fine, even when this agreement was actually met, it wasn't during the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. Yeah. But one fact remains that government is continuous.
Yes, indeed.
So whether it's APC or any other political party that is there, the lecturers' issues remains the same, and it has to be resolved. And let me also enlighten you about some of the issues that they are faced with. Aside the fact that the universities have to be revitalized, there are also some simple issues which I don't think as an individual I should take forever to solve. Issues like probably 2014 Pension Reform Act, whereby they want to protect lecturers that have retired.
But the lecturers try to speak with the government, this new government, before embarking on this
According
strike.
to the president of ASUU,
yes,
they've written severally. They've actually signed a memorandum of understanding which they've sent to the government, and they've also sent out press release and communiques at different times to get the attention of the government, to no avail. And also about some few months ago, they wrote to the implementation committee of the 2009 agreement that was actually made by a committee, and they've been keeping touch with those people, but there is just discussions, but no action in response.
Talking about their grievances. One is poor funding. Another is a part payment of their salaries.
Yes.
Another is the kidnap of 2 lecturers of the University of Maiduguri.
Yes.
Pardon me here, but is the kidnap of 2 lecturers enough to call for a strike?
It's not just about the kidnapped lecturers, but of course, when it comes to unionism, it's about protecting their workers. It's about protecting their members. Because if we also know that if it's a political person that actually was kidnapped, we know that the government will swing into action. I am not taking sides, but when it comes to
you quite sure?
I'm very sure. But when it comes to one of the essence of unionism is because once one person is injured, according to them, everybody is suffering.
It's a
solidarity thing. So once one lecturer has been kidnapped, of course, it's as good as it could have been anybody, and they have to protect themselves. And that's why they have the union to actually speak for the members. But that aside, there are so many issues when it comes to non-payment of salaries and non-payment of their end academic allowance. It's just like you working as a journalist. You have allowances and it's not being paid. It's as good as you being paid half or quarter your salaries. And these are people that determine the education sector, and they also deal with the leaders of tomorrow.
Besides this indefinite strike, because that doesn't seem to be working, is there anything else the lecturers can do, ASUU can do?
With my experience covering education or as a journalist or as a reporter for over 10 years, most times the only language that our government actually listens to is strike.
Sharon Ijasan, education correspondent, thank you for being here.